Hello, welcome back. I'm gonna answer more burning questions that you guys had about Hearthstone Battlegrounds. So let's get started with this Q&A. If you, of course, have any questions that you really want answered or things you don't know about Hearthstone Battlegrounds, leave them down below in the comments and I'll try to answer as many as possible in the next one. So the first one I got was by Sliperlick. When is it right to level on turn 3 or 5 gold? I only do it when facing Alakir, but I feel like that's not the only time you can do it. So leveling on turn 3, 5 gold, I assume it means a power level 2 tier 3 and not staying down on tier 1 and leveling on turn 3, because that's also a possible curve that you can do with heroes like Omu or Yogg. So let's specifically talk about the power level. You can do this in multiple ways if you have a token or a swabbie, or even without it, just sell your unit and level up. And the boring short answer is it depends. It depends on what hero you are, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're a tempo hero, you can probably afford to. Like if you are Alakir yourself, you have a swabbie, you have a 2/2 Divine Shield anyway when leveling up, and whatever units you find on tier 3, you can also Divine Shield with Wind Fury and Taunt. Or if you're playing Reno, you like power leveling up so that you can hit something really early to hero power. Depends on what's in the lobby. If there's mechs, then tier 3 is good because you can roll Deflectobots. If there's dragons, you can roll Bronze Warden. So also, what opponent are you facing? Are they generally really strong? Then leveling up is not gonna make much of a difference because you're gonna lose the fight anyway, right? What hero are you? What are you looking for? Who are you facing? And also, is your shop trash? If you have a really good tier 2 shop with like double Party Elemental or a bomb and a leaper, then it's probably worth to stay on tier 2 instead of power level. But if your shop is a bunch of 1-drops or just absolute garbage, yeah, just take the leap. Next one is by Riley Spot. Why are my opponents so lucky? Just get good. Why are you so unlucky? So I know this is probably a meme question. I'm probably giving a meme answer, but for real, if you notice that your opponents are just getting much luckier than you, there is a lot of things at play. I have an entire video about RNG that I'll leave. Wait, no, I'll leave over here. But basically, it's a mental thing. You remember the bad things more than you remember the good things because it has a big impact on you. But also, you gotta set yourself up to get lucky. If you feel like you're getting unlucky, but you stay down on Tavern tiers, you play for tempo, you never get like the power levels going or the triples, and you face someone with double Caligos on turn 7. The reason they got the double Caligos is because they bought pairs and they were power leveling all the way to tier 5 on turn 7 and tripling into it. So they set themselves up for high rolls. If they fail or they miss the high roll, yeah, they get top 8, but that's also a way that you get more first places. If you never take those risks or you never learn to play greedy, because it's mainly playing greedy, you'll also never be rewarded with big high rolls. So if you feel like you're not high rolling enough, learn to play greedier and take different lines from time to time. But yeah, you're gonna get punished as well. If you play greedy, you'll just be stunned by a Kiraji taunt build. It happens, it happens. Next up is Roy. What's the best way to get gold for the Tavern Pass without paying a single cent? I actually don't care at all about the Tavern Pass or about achievements. I'll guide you to 2 friends of mine who have made a video about this. Very in-depth, better than I could ever explain it. Check out Solemn's video and check out Zeddy's video. They both have amazing videos on the Tavern Pass. I never cared about gold in the game or the Tavern Pass or about achievements too much, so I'm not the one to talk about this. They have done a wonderful job giving all the info you need, so go check them out. Next up, Synthetic Memes. Do you think the Hearthstone team will implement any new events like the Darkmoon prizes going forward? If so, what do you think would be good ideas for future events? Yes, I really hope so. They clearly saw how much people like the prizes. Like, it was an overwhelming positive feedback that they got, even though prizes turned toxic and there's a lot of people that hated it. In the end, overall, it was a really good concept and they can iterate on that. They can learn from it and the mistakes they made with the spells. So I don't think they'll do more spells necessarily in the future. I mean, I wouldn't mind if they do more spells. Spells are kind of okay if you balance them correctly, but yeah, there's a lot of other cool things they could do. They can give people coins on certain turns so the game goes faster and people have different economy and different leveling curves. What if they lower or increase the cost for leveling? Or what if they give everyone a Millhouse Mana Storm hero power and just remove Millhouse from the hero pool so everyone can buy and roll for 2 gold? How is that going to affect the game? There's so many cool, interesting things you can do in Battlegrounds still. So many modes that I can come up with. Like, what if you have half the time a turn? Okay, maybe that's bad because then mobile users are gonna cry. Or what if everyone has an elite hero power? Or what if you can't get triples? So if cards on triples, you can have like 6 units on the board that are like, I don't know. There's so many possibilities. I'm really hoping they're gonna experiment more and then we get more frequent updates like these because they change up the meta and the game a lot. Because things get very stale. If you don't get a good patch, then things just stabilize and yeah, we have the same game for over a month. And just releasing a new hero is not gonna change the meta too much either. So if they just like put small patch notes out once in a while, sure, it's gonna shake up a little bit, but if the hero is bad, nothing is gonna change. So they should definitely do more of this stuff. Now, VogelKexG, what do you need to think about when you need a specific 5-star and are on level 4 with 2 or more pairs, or the same situation 1 level higher? So if you are looking for a very specific unit, it's always best to just level up for it. For example, if you have full board of dragons and you need top Caligos is the only way you progress, you need to level to tier 6. Because if you roll for the pairs but you don't hit the triples, or even if you hit the triples and miss, you're gonna die. Only level if you can afford to, of course, but if you can afford to, 100% level. Most of the time, if you're looking for something specific though, that's a bad case. Like for example, if you're looking for exactly Goldrin or exactly, yeah, Caligos or Lightfang, and you don't hit it and die, that's just a bad setup. You always need to stay flexible, so always try to stay flexible. If you're rolling for the pairs or the triples, don't just doom roll for it and only look for that. Also still take tempo things and things that can make you stronger, so you don't just get blasted out of the game trying to roll for the triple. So try to stabilize. If you're looking for something specific, you should level for it, or yeah, just don't get into that situation. Sure, it's okay if you're looking for Nadina, or if you're looking for Lightfang or Nomi or whatever. You should never look for Nomi. Try not to get into that position, but if you do, be smart about it and don't just waste all your money. And Korg, is Rag or Nomi better? I had both on board and didn't know which one to kick. This is actually a pretty hard question because there's no better or worse. It just depends on what stage of the game you're in. If it's really early on, Nomi is 100% better because you can just skill your elementals and they get insanely huge. Lil'Rag is better in sort of a menagerie setup because whatever units you have with Divine Shield or Max or whatever, you can buff them up. Lil'Rag needs to go to tier 6 though, because there's where the Gars are, the Genies, more Lil'Rags, and you can pop off on tier 6 much more than on tier 5. But if you already have a Nomi and already have huge elementals in the shop, it is probably better to stick with Nomi for a while. Lil'Rag is more of a late game thing, or a thing if you don't have Nomi and have another setup going. Because if you keep on scaling your elementals with Nomi, you're just gonna end up much stronger objectively later on in the game than if you sell the Nomi, put Lil'Rag in, and just play the same elementals to buff up your units. Because generally with Nomi, you have units on the board that are not permanent, they're just huge stats, like huge elementals, and then you want to end up tripling them, getting really strong, and then selling Nomi for a Spore or Selfless Hero. So if you're doing Nomi stuff, I would say stick with it unless you are on tier 6 and roll double Lil'Rag and already have 2 Cyclones and huge stuff. So yeah, that's my advice. Never go from Lil'Rag into Nomi. That's also another thing. If you have Lil'Rag, don't take a Nomi. But if you have Nomi, you can transition into Lil'Rag possibly if you think it's worth. Doing both though, I don't like it too much because your Lil'Rag will buff elementals that you want to end up selling anyway, because the elementals in your shop are bigger than the ones on your board. This is kind of comparable to like Lightfang Bren. You want to hit Lightfang first, so you can just set up your board and you get free buffs, and you don't have to waste money for buffs. Then you level up and then eventually you find a Bren and do a big swing turn, play those Amalgadons. So I think it's kind of comparable, but not 100% because you can do Lightfang Bren at the same time though. I hope this answers your question, but this is definitely not an easy one. So again, there's a lot of things you got to think about and look at when making decisions like these. Then Davey, why don't you use deck tracker? I included this question because it's a really annoying one that I get a lot. Every stream I have like 5 people ask me why I don't use deck tracker. There's 3 questions I get. Why do I not use deck tracker? Where am I from? And why do I stream on YouTube and not on Twitch? So I'll actually answer all 3 of those, but let's start with this one, why I don't use deck tracker. It is a mental thing. I made a video about it a while ago, but it's a pretty bad or outdated video. I might redo it because I think it's still an interesting thing to talk about. There's more and more people that are choosing to not play with the percentages on top. It's a mental thing. Again, if you look at the percentages only, then you base the entire fight and the entire outcome on that percentage. You will say I'm lucky or I'm unlucky, and that's it, which is a bad perspective. It's better to objectively look at the fight, see where things went wrong. If you get unlucky, then notice why, and maybe you can improve it, because even if you get unlucky, maybe you could have improved your odds even more. Maybe there was still a misplay. Well, if you think you just got unlucky, you're not even gonna look to improve because you were favored anyway. Stuff like that. I also like training my memory. I try to remember what my opponents had, my opponents' boards. But yeah, I think it just makes you a better player overall and just is good practice. But if you want to try hard and really want to perform at the max level, I guess it is better to use it because it just gives you tools that extra tools never hurt, right? They can only help you in the game. Also, maybe in future tournaments, they might not allow Bubbles Buddy. So far, it's always allowed. But yeah, if Hearthstone actually does like official tournaments, which are not happening soon, but maybe normal Hearthstone tournaments already don't allow deck tracker. So if that happens for Battlegrounds as well, I'm prepared because I always play without it. So I'll just answer the 2 other questions real quick. I'm from Belgium, in case you didn't know, and I stream YouTube on Twitch. Again, I made like a 20-minute video on why I prefer streaming on YouTube and Twitch on like a second channel that I'll link down below. It's a channel about content creating, but YouTube is more fun for me. I think my YouTube is going better than my Twitch anyway. I prefer having everything on one platform, and I actually think, yeah, YouTube is just ahead of the game compared to Twitch. Sure, Twitch is more popular for streaming, but but YouTube is actually doing a better job with, for example, memberships. I get a bigger percentage. I can give more in return with member videos. I just like the way that YouTube structures their live streams and their memberships compared to like Twitch subscribers and promotion. YouTube does more promotion. I just like YouTube, okay? Final question, this is one that I pulled from Twitter because I thought this was interesting to include as well. It's by Mechanical Koi, or Houndstooth is his Twitter handle. Curious about your thoughts on buying a deck swabby turn 1 and holding it for turn 2 and intentionally losing so you can hit turn 3 faster. So again, this kind of ties in with the first question with the power level, because you buy a swabby turn 1, you hold it in the hand and don't play it, so that way next turn you can level and play it and discount your tier 3 level up instead of your tier 2 level up. So that way on 5 gold you can just level and keep the 2/2 on the board, and your tier 3 on turn 3 5 gold. Hope you're following. So this can again be achieved with a token or with other units as well. Again, what I think about this, the swabby play especially, it depends. It's a stupid answer, but it depends. I think it's a good play, but if you hit a swabby on your turn 1 shop, don't just take it and set up for this play. Don't just see a swabby and do a power level. It's a good strategy to know about though. So if you didn't know about this yet, try it out, you know. It's good to have this strategy in mind whenever you have a bad tier 2 shop or playing a hero with a lot of tempo, or tier 3 is good depending on what tribes are in the lobby and depending on your opponent. Ties in with the first question again. Look at everything that there is to consider, and then you can employ the strategy if you want to. So I can't say this is right, I can't say this is wrong, I can't say this is good or bad. Also meta dependent. If it's a level meta, go ahead. And I'm gonna leave it at that, and that was a final question for this Q&A. Once again, if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'd love to answer them. Yeah, if you're new here, you want to catch more stuff about Battlegrounds, then consider subscribing. I try to post almost daily. I also stream, like I mentioned on here. Liking the video helps me promote this. You can literally, it takes 1 second, it's completely free, and it helps this video reach more people, so would very much be appreciated. Thank you for watching. Good luck on the Battlegrounds.